control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome, everyone. Today, I'm doing a little last-minute podcast because I might not be able to come on tomorrow, and I wanted to talk about something a little lighter than what's going on in our country today. So for those of you who are living under a rock, we had a political assassination, basically, right? So somebody was shot, and everybody is a little depressed, and some people are a little happier than they should be, and everybody's just kind of uneasy in the country. Now, it is giving JFK vibes. It is giving there's something going on. They're trying to incite something. What that is, I don't know what that is, but I think it's too early to speculate on that stuff. And there's plenty of places where you can find people speculating on that stuff. This is not going to be the place for that. But the one thing that I think would be, before we get into today's topic, something that we could consider doing, and it's just a consideration, because in case you guys have noticed, like the last 10 years have been weird, right? With the media. Like it's been weirder. Like there's been no professionalism. It's been really like propagandized to a point that's extreme, that's a little bit psychotic, that's a little bit insane. So I did not know that this was passed about 10 years ago, that this was taken away maybe about 10 years ago. But just listen to what this young woman has to say. I think she's spot on. We'll listen to this really quick, and then we will get into today's topic. But I did think it was important to show you guys this video before we go on.
Alrighty, this message is for President Trump and his administration. If you stay to watch the video, please tag him down below, share, and repost so we can try to get this to him as quickly as possible and hope that he can do something with this. President Trump, as a supporter who voted for you 3 times, I am hoping and praying that you will revisit what Barack Obama and Joe Biden got rid of back in 2013, which is the Smith-Mundt Act, which held news corporations accountable for lying to the American people and spreading propaganda instead of truth. I think instead of bringing it back as a Smith-Mundt Act, you name it the Charlie Kirk Act, you make it a law, and you make it damn near impossible for these people to continue to lie to the American public, which has brought chaos, hatred, division, and anarchy all across this country. Fines out the ass, which will damn near bankrupt their companies should they lie to the American people ever again. They can have their opinions, that's fine. They need to state that it is their opinion and that it is not a fact. Because of their constant lies, a man lost his life over it. Because of the constant hateful rhetoric of calling him a fascist and a Nazi and a white supremacist and a bigot, the same thing that they called you, this man is dead. I think this would be a great legacy for him to have a law named after him, to force journalists to finally start telling the truth and having the integrity that they have lacked for over a decade. I hope that this gets to you. I hope that you think about it and that you pass it into law. Because we are on a dangerous path right now with the constant lies and the propaganda. And that doesn't end just at news journalists. It needs to go to content creators who consistently spread lies and propaganda and half-truths across the internet. This needs to end. And people need to start being held accountable for baseless claims over absolute abysmal things. It needs to end. So please, if you have it in your heart to have the time to do this, get this in front of Congress, get this passed as a law, and start holding these news corporations, be they right, left, or center, accountable for their behavior. Thank you.
So this was the original act that I guess Obama got rid of. So you guys should look into that, and remember, you guys can work at the state and local level. You can actually call up your congressman and demand that this happens in your state so that people cannot go on the news and just say out lies, right, about people. And I think if we just had that in place, if we just went back to how things were 10 years ago, right, before this was taken away, things would be a lot better in this country, and relations with each other would be a lot better, because the ability to lie on the news is what is a central problem. Now, we could say the schools, they should not be allowed to lie to the students either, right? But if we can at least get the news on board and stop lying, we're going to have a better society again. Let's take it back 10 years. All right. So, back to today's episode. We will be talking about 65% of divorces, yes, as we know, are initiated by women, and most cite emotional neglect instead of infidelity, which used to be like on par with financial issues, right? So today we're going to be talking about all of them, and then I'm going to really go into the top one, because people normally think it's usually a money issue, right? But it is not. And I have started to ask people that, like, I went to high school with, old friends and stuff. I started to ask them, what was the reason that you guys split up? And yes, the women in all these cases were the ones to leave. But you would think it would be money or infidelity. But it turns out something else. And we could say it's not fair, they shouldn't have those feelings, or blah, 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 right? We can say all those things as long as we want, but that's not going to change the reality. The reality is we live in this world. And if you are interested in women, this is what you need to know to deal with women. So we'll be talking about that. So first, let's go into the current data, right? So this is 2024, 2025. This is like the current data on it. These are the top 5 reasons that women will file for divorce, right? It's going to be unmet emotional, physical needs and neglect, right? That's number 1. We're going to go into that one deeply. Number 2, of course, is infidelity, husband's affair. So this is the women filing. So this is the woman's reason, these top 5. So infidelity of the husband cheats. 35% of cases, the husband is unfaithful, and that's the reason, right? Okay. Emotional infidelity also factors in, but it's usually actual infidelity, like physical infidelity, for the women to file. So the next one, number 3, is going to be unequal household responsibilities and work-life imbalance. So we're going to be talking about that one and how we can hopefully avoid that one. What does that really mean? I know it's not fair, but again, if you want to be with a woman and you're a man, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to navigate this stuff. Number 4 is, of course, domestic violence, abuse, 20, whatever. It doesn't say the exact amount, so I'm not going to give you an amount for that one, because the statistics are a little shaky. You know, statistics are really hard to get accurate ones. So we're getting kind of, and I've talked to you guys before about how inaccurate psychological studies are. Surveys are like the most inaccurate of all data, but this is what we have to use. Now you do have to, they do keep record when people get divorced of the reasons why. That's why we have better statistics for divorce. We don't have as much for like other things, like cheating in relationships and stuff like that. Like that data is not good. All right. The next one is going to be substance abuse. Main one of substance abuse is alcohol, right? Alcohol is a huge problem. You guys don't understand. Nearly all my friends from high school are sober. Like they've gotten sober. The whole drinking thing that like our parents and our grandparents and our great parents and great grand whatever, that's over. Like The people today are just not having it anymore because they're, again, just like the food, they're putting something in the alcohol. Alcohol, when it was first invented, it used to be like herbal remedy type stuff. It used to have stuff that would give you some medicinal benefits, some minerals, some nutrients. There would be stuff in there to give you some vitality back, and you get a little loopy. That's like a little side effect. What they do now is they use, like for beer, they use hops, and hops is highly, highly estrogenic and highly bad for you and super toxic, right? So when they're doing something like that, when they and conspiracies, whatever, they purposely did this. They want to manipulate the population by manipulating our hormones and everything like that. So that's why they do it. And then the funniest thing is you'll see like beer commercials and they're marketing beer to like manly men and having all like the sexy women around. It's like, be a manly man. You'll get sexy women, drink, whatever, have parties, have fun. But the reality is when you drink as a man, you get the boobs. You don't get to touch the boobs. You'll get the boobs. I mean, you can touch your own boobs, I guess. So I guess you can touch boobs if you drink alcohol, but they're going to be your own as a man. Not the best situation, but it's an option. Anyways, so financial issues are overall one of the highest. Like 24% of couples in 2025 said that financial issues, if you count both the male and the female, so 24% of the couple would say that. But if it's just the woman, that's not as important as what I said before, which is the unmet emotional, physical needs and neglect, right? So think about that. Men are less likely to file for divorce, but yeah, they do more for financial issues, right? Financial issues than for cheating and stuff like that. So we have to look into what do these things mean and what can we do to avoid it, right? Let's start at the bottom, right? We're going to start with the substance abuse one. Alcohol is number one. Obviously, you do something harder, it's going to equal more chances of divorce. So we're just going to stick with alcohol because for whatever reason, it's considered okay. The next one I'm going to say weed would be the next one. Now, you might think it's harmless, but this destroys motivation. It destroys motivation. It makes you lazy. It makes you not care. It makes you give up. So you're not going to be playing with your kids. You're not going to be asking your wife how she's doing. You're not going to be interested in your family life when you do that. And I have seen this with not direct friends because I don't hang out with people like that, but like coworkers and like their relationships and just kind of seeing it like from afar, where you just see the guy kind of like spaced out. He's got a happy face on and she's stressed out with the kids running around. And it's kind of like, what is he doing? He's not doing anything. He's completely numb to the world. He's checked out. So then they're more likely to just be like, you're not even here, like mentally here. You don't talk to us. You're just, you're not like alcoholics screaming and yelling and being disrespectful, but you're like not even here. Like you're completely mentally somewhere else. And you tend to gain more weight and weed is very estrogenic. So you're going to have that problem. It's not a good look. It's just, and it's embarrassing as a woman to have a dude that's just like plopped in a corner staring with a stupid grin all the time. It's just like, what are you doing, buddy? This is embarrassing already. So like you got to get rid of the bad habits. And then of course, let's go to alcohol. That's a no-brainer. It does make people more angry, more mean, more quick-tempered. It increases your anxiety. So you might be thinking, I'm going to relax after work and drink, but it's going to make you more overall short-tempered, angry. You're going to be fighting in traffic more. You're going to be very short with everybody around you. You're going to take it out on your family. You're going to take it out on your kids. You're going to take it out on everybody. You think that you're okay because society, at least it used to, not anymore, thank God. It used to just kind of like validate you. Like, yeah, everybody does it. So then you could feel like empowered to keep doing the bad habit. But just because people do something doesn't mean it's acceptable. It's absolutely not acceptable. It's really, really bad for relationships. So and you don't want to be the dad that has like a can of beer or whatever the hell alcohol after work. You don't want to be that guy. That's embarrassing. That is terrifying, actually. They've done studies on children's emotional reaction when their fathers or mothers or whatever would sit and drink alcohol, and they would become terrified inside. Even if they're not showing it, even if they seem like they just kind of like go see, because it's an unsafe feeling. It's like there's no adult in the room anymore. Now I have like a huge dangerous child, or like someone who's emotionally unstable. So definitely get that away. If you're going to have a family, if you're going to get married, you need to get over that. After college, I would say put it away. You're done. You are done. Anyways, and do not marry someone who is into that. Like, don't marry a woman who's into that, because I also have stories of some friends from high school that married a female alcoholic or a female addicted to marijuana. And that's terrible too. Like, you guys need to avoid people who have addictions. Unfortunately, it does not end well. So there's that. Let's talk about the domestic violence and abuse stuff. We already know what constitutes as that. We already know. We know. Just being. Also, you want to be around someone who's emotionally stable. So I would say any sort of like aggression, signs of aggression, and you can tell this by like when they get really. Now, of course, I'm a very aggressive, angry person, but not towards my husband. So I am very aggressive and angry towards anyone that, I don't know, threatens him or my family. So that's a different type of aggression. That's more like mama bear aggression, and not so much like general anger issues. You want to find someone who's not spoiled with anger issues, because when you are spoiled and you have your anger issues, or when you feel entitled as a man or a woman, they both can feel very entitled to certain things, and you have the anger issues, that's when you're more likely to experience the abuse. So you have to be careful of those things. And you're going to have to start vetting people for dark triad traits, right? A little bit of caring about how you look is good. Too much is crazy. What's it called? The psychopathic eyes. You'll see the photos on the dating swipey apps. Like if they do, like any sort of like the eyes are like, that's a psychopath. So please, I know they're occasionally very hot. Please swipe. Anyways, so that is that. Now we're going to be talking about emotional labor. We've talked about this before. Unequal household responsibilities. And then you have to add to that the work-life imbalance, right? So this happens when modern times, you got the mom and the dad, and they're both going to work. And then they both come home. And then if the kids just swamp the mom, let's say, because this is the one we're talking about, if they just swamp the mom and the dad doesn't do anything, or he goes and puts his feet up while she's cooking and dealing with the homework and all that stuff, she's going to have massive resentment, because normally women didn't have to do all of the man work plus the woman work. So now if you're going to have a woman that works, like if you know you cannot make enough money to have a stay-at-home wife, probably you need to understand that you will have to be putting in the domestic duties, the childcare duties too. And unfortunately, this means you hormonally will have lower testosterone levels. The more interaction, and this is under age 7, right? Not above age 7. So stop. Don't you're not going to be checked out, even if you pay all the bills or whatever, and she gets to stay home. You've got to understand that below age 7, the more time you spend caretaking your children, which you should do, because if you did not provide her nannies and, I don't know, your mom coming in to help with the kids, or grandparents are able to come in, or maybe you have older siblings that'll babysit for you guys and help you guys around the house in the daily duties. If you're not giving her that community or the paid support, you have to do that. But when you do that, it will lower your testosterone, which is gonna unfortunately lower your motivation. And when testosterone gets lower of the man, and the woman is under stress doing man's work plus woman's work, this is going to cause a lot of conflicts, relationship conflicts. This is why I know you guys hate to hear this, because you guys are like, I can't make tons of money or whatever. And I know it's hard, but maybe like you should wait till you're more secure financially to have kids. Or, hey, you know what? You don't have to be in this country. This country kind of sucks. No offense. It's kind of crazy. So why don't you just go somewhere else? You can teach English at like some other country and get like a decent living situation. That's probably going to be better than here. Maybe they have childcare, healthcare included in how the state works or whatever, the country. You can look into that. But here, if you're going to do it here, unfortunately, you need a lot of money, because you don't want her to be overwhelmed and psychotic, because women who spend all their time alone with children, they get mental health breaks. Their brains will break. Unfortunately, women were designed to be in like a hen house of different women. So if she's got no other women around her and she's alone all day with young children, as much as she may love them, she could have a mental breakdown. So this is difficult. This is a very difficult time. The first 7 years of every kid's life is very difficult for relationships. That's why usually you'll see divorces after the first 7 years of raising the kid. Like things start to taper off, and then people just go, okay, I'm done. Like this was too stressful. I'm too stressed out. The kid is a little bit older. I am starting to feel myself again. And they just want to like cut ties and start, like, the trauma is so intense if you have to be alone with a child all day for a woman. It's a lot. So try to give community. That means every day somebody is over there. A human adult is there to talk with your wife if she is alone with a child. Or you just pay for a nanny or something like that. Look, it happens to guys too. Guys staying at home with their kids. Now, it didn't happen to my dad, because my dad's kind of awesome. He loves staying home with me. He's the best dad ever, but that didn't work out for their marriage, but it worked out for me. And he wasn't stressed, but it was still a problem. See, women don't like it when the man stays home with. See, it's really hard to make women happy, which is the overall message. It's really going to be hard to make a woman happy. There's so many factors. There's so many balls you have to throw in the air. You have to keep everything in the air, and it's like a lot of work. So moving on. All right. When it comes to kids after school activities, driving them around, who's going to wake up and take the kids to school? I would say if your wife does not work and you can wake up a little bit earlier and drop the kids off at school before you go to work so she could sleep even an extra 20, 30 minutes, her brain is going to be so much more healthy, and she's going to be so much less likely to go insane. And remember, insane will eventually equal the dissolution of the marriage or the relationship. So the more women sleep, the higher the chances that you guys are going to have a good relationship. The more women get to talk with their friends that are not going through a divorce or not single skanks, the better your relationship will be. So you need to schedule time for her to be around other hens that are happy hens, not miserable hens. So you got to kind of like vet the hens. Are these good hens or are these bad hens? Vet them. And then they need to sleep more. So that means if the woman is up all night with feedings, you got to step in, and you're going to be a lot more mentally able to not deal with sleep. Women, one night of no sleep, they will basically be legally insane as far as I'm concerned. They're going to be insane. They're going to act insane. They're going to attack you. They're going to be rude and, very curt and with the children. It's not a good look. So if you don't sleep, you're going to be healthier and better able to manage than she will. This is very important for the early stages of having kids, because that's the reason why we're getting married. We want to have families. So the first 7 years of the kid's life, this is where all the trauma can happen. I don't see how you're getting that from this, but okay. Yes, we need to do like the green light therapy so you don't get migraines, and the red light is so you stay young. So, and you don't like ruin your circadian rhythm. Anyways, okay. So, if you can, I would say do not outsource meals to like, don't get restaurant, don't get takeout, because that's going to make you guys die sooner. Instead of doing that, get a cleaner. So instead of, you guys fighting over like chores, hire someone to do that. Once a week, they come in, they do all the chores, they do all the laundry, they do all that stuff. It's worth a couple $100 to get that handled. And you guys take turns making food. It takes 30 minutes to make a meal, all right? 30 minutes. You can do it. I just get like a little bit of ground beef, put it in the pan, just whatever. Sometimes I don't even defrost it. I put it in the pan frozen with some water, cover it up. It'll slowly, chip it away until it gets defrosted, and then cook the meat, whatever. Make some rice in a rice cooker. You get a vegetable. I mean, bada bing, bada boom, right? You can do this. It's not that hard to cook. Cook some chicken, rice cooker, maybe a vegetable if that's what you're into. I'm not so into vegetables, but it's a thing. And then you could just eat. You don't need to go to a restaurant. Please do not order food. There's no place that's safe anymore. I mean, that would be ideal, but I cook all during the week and he cooks on the weekends. And we only eat one time a day. So it's not that much. Look, I eat one time a day and I'm alive. You don't need 50 meals. You guys got to stop all that. Anyways, actually, as you get older and more sedentary, you're not out there like me when I was younger. I used to have to take the bus and the whatever, and I'm walking in the heats. I'm sweating. I'm climbing up 8-10 flights of stairs to get to work, to get to a patient's house, to get to wherever I'm going. When I was out in the world, I could handle I still didn't eat breakfast. Let's be real honest. I would have lunch and dinner. I never had breakfast my whole life. It's just not. I only have breakfast when I go to brunch, and that's basically lunch because I won't have lunch. It is what it is. I can't have nightshades, so I don't know. Do they make curries without tomatoes and nightshades? Anyways, so going up to the infidelity. Now, the ladies don't like that. You can say, but Andrew Tate can do it all you want, but the majority of ladies, they're not going to fly with that. You're just not going to, especially if you're not a billionaire. You're not taking them on $1 million vacations every year. They don't, you're making them work, and you're going to do something like infidelity. I mean, it's a sin because you're exposing your family to health problems. You're exposing them to financial problems. You're exposing them to being sued, to you catching a case, to drama and trauma. What are you doing? If you want to have a family, you got to let that stuff go. You can choose to continue to just date women until you die. That's an option. But if you want the family, you got to think and be faithful. And what it does to kids when one of the parents is unfaithful is devastating. So look into those studies. You don't want to be the cause of people's long-term mental health and physical health issues. It's not worth it. Just don't be unfaithful. That's all I'm saying. All right. So, and that is about, depending on the study and the survey and blah, 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 it's about 35 to 60% of cases. They're going to be with some infidelity. Next, we have the most important one. Oh, okay. So the most important one is, and it's like a bundle of different emotions is all I can, because it says unmet emotional and unmet physical needs. Those are two different things as far as I'm concerned, but we're lumping them, I guess, together. And neglect, right? So you have your unmet emotional needs. That means your wife talks to you and you're like checked out. You're playing video games. Or you come home, you go to like, I don't know, the basement and you whack it and you watch your shows and then you go to bed after she's asleep. Like there's no emotional connection there. There's no friendship. There's no communication. There's no nothing. And that eats away at relationships. Women, especially women who like work and do stuff and you're not providing any sort of lifestyle and you're not talking to them and you're not emotionally connecting with them. It's a huge thing for women. Now, in the past, women used to be heavily medicated who got to stay at home. So they got to stay at home all day and they had all of their magical pills to keep them chill. So while you were in the basement doing God knows what, she would be like on the couch staring at a wall completely in a different dimension, right? That's how it used to be back in the day. That's why like we had less problem back then, because you could be sedated downstairs and she could be sedated in wherever the hell she is. And I'm not saying this was a good situation, because ultimately we're social creatures. We need friends and family around us every single day to be mentally healthy. So obviously we're not doing that anymore as a society. So you have to be everything. You have to be her friends and her family. And that means you're going to have to brace yourself. You're going to have to get comfortable with listening to women speak. And this is very difficult for men. It's very difficult because she's going to like verbal diarrhea everything of her day, all her complaints, everything that's happened, what so-and-so said, all the stuff. And it's very overwhelming. And as a man, you're going to first take it as, oh, she's attacking me personally. No, she's not attacking you personally. This is just how women talk. They kind of spew all of their, like every stupid thought, negative thought that pops in and out of their head. They kind of like collect it all day and they need to let it go, right? And a woman is going to need somebody to unleash this every day to be mentally okay and to feel like her emotional needs are getting met. So your job as a man is to put the phone down, put the controller down, put the whatever the hell you're doing down, and give her the eye contact. Get used to saying things like, oh, really? Oh, no. Are you serious? That happened? I can't believe she said that to you. Like, practice this in the mirror. It makes a world of difference. I know you don't want to do it like as a guy. I know this is painful, but you're going to have to pretend that you were like really interested, and girls love enthusiasm. So if you can turn it up a notch even further, and I know you've had a long day, it's a horrible day, it's terrible, but she needs to decompress by complaining about everything that happened, especially certain times in the cycle. We'll get into that. So when she's decompressing, complaint. And some of these complaints, they're going to be about you. And you're going to be like, is this chick trying to start a fight? Because I will bring a fight. And no, you need to calm down. This has nothing to do with you. Just hear me out. She's going to say, you didn't put this away. You didn't do this. You smell. You farted all last night. You were snoring. You know, whatever, you left without putting the trash away, or whatever it is. She's going to say all of these complaints. Almost every day it's going to happen, like almost every day, especially certain times in the cycle. It's going to be every day, certain times in the cycle. So what you're going to do is say, oh, really? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh gosh, you're right. Just learn how to play the game. I know it is hard, right? It is really difficult. So you're just going to be like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Wow, I did that. Yeah. Sorry about that. Oh, I know. I'm so silly. I can't believe I did that. I'm sorry, honey. Just learn to say this. And the stubbornness of men, you could stop all your problems dead in their tracks if you just said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so silly. I can't believe I did that. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. You're right. Just say, you're right. I'm sorry. Just repeat that. And then if she's complaining about somebody else, I can't believe that. Oh no. No, she did not do that to you. I cannot believe she said that. She did what? Oh my gosh. Have some fake enthusiasm when it's about somebody else, like you really are interested. And then when it's about you, I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm so silly. Just like downplay it, but listen, pay attention, give the eye contact, give the full attention. Don't make it about you. Don't take it personal because it's just hormones. It's just the woman's. That's how they're made. So just if you can handle doing that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's so silly. I can't believe I did do that. Oh my gosh. I'm just yes. This is what we need to do. Okay. So you do that. I swear to you, you're going to unmet emotional needs. That's never going to happen to you. If you can just, and I need you to feign the enthusiasm when she's talking shit about somebody else or complaining about somebody else. This bitch cut you off in traffic. I can't believe that. No. What did she look like? I thought so. I thought she would look like that. I can't believe that type. Yeah, I knew it was that type of person. She'll be like, I know, right? Right. Yeah. It's always that type of person. And you're just like, just egg her on. Just, yes, queen, whatever. Just freaking do it. I know. Cause you got to be her friend, right? That's the emotional part. You got to be her friend. And women like a yes man. Yes, man. Like they like excitement. Think about like, every woman's like favorite gay best friend. How is that man showing up, right? It's going to be like with tons of enthusiasm. They're going to love the hot gossip. They're going to be just like, so like, oh my God, tell me more. Oh, if you can handle it, say, oh, no. And what else happened? Tell me more. Tell me more about your day. What did this chick say? The problem with the guys who keep getting the divorce papers, this is the number one thing that they said. They would come home. She would try to connect by sharing that. And he would be like, well, what do you want me to do? Well, I had a bad day too. I'm not complaining about my day. And you lost the plot, baby. You lost the plot. You cannot handle being with a woman if you want her to be a man, right? That's a different topic. That is like, if you could learn how to be attracted physically to a man, then you can do that because you could be with a man, right? If you want to be like, so what? Deal with it. Suck it up. That's how men talk to each other. That's not how you talk to a woman. It's going to blow up in your face and she's going to take all your money. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice enthusiasm until you believe it, right? Until you start to be like, I kind of want to hear what happened with Susie in the office. Did she ever get that promotion? Did she steal that client from so-and-so? When you get to that point where you're just like, pull up a chair and you sit next to her and like, no, tell me more. And I know you're thinking, I don't want to be a gay man. I don't want to. Well, look, this is a society we live in. Either you're doing it or some other stupid guy is doing it at work. And that's when you get the problems. And then you got to cut all your checks to her, right? So we're trying to avoid that. So you're going to have to just do it. Just like if you can do it at least like 3 days a week, right? It's probably not going to be every day. There's going to be some days in her cycle where she doesn't need this type of emotional connection. Sometimes she's just going to be like, I just want to be alone on the couch scrolling. And you can just be like, oh, it's a good day for me. And then you can go and play your video games, right? Right? Every day of a woman's cycle, it's a different woman. You know why the reason why men are attracted to lots of women? Because when you marry one woman, every day of her cycle, that's about 28 to 32 different women. So every day she wakes up, it's like, I wonder who it's going to be today because it's a completely different person from yesterday. What she likes, what her tastes are in food, the smells she can stand, the topics she can discuss or not discuss, they're going to change per day of the cycle. This sounds insane, but men are on a 24-hour hormonal cycle. So they're the same every day, just different parts of the day. They're going to have different needs. Women have different needs every single day from 28 to 30 something days, right? Every single day. So that's why you guys are just accustomed, you're just drawn to like all sorts of women because when you pick one, that's going to be your all sorts of women because you're going to have the crazy bitch, then you're going to have the chill chick, then you're going to have the psychotic one that she'll slash your tires, and then you're going to have the one that just wants to cuddle. Then you're going to have, like this hypersexual one, and then the next day she's going to be like, whatever. Let's just, I don't know, eat bonbons or something like that. So this is the new modern marriage, right? You got to be BFFs. You got to do that. So you got to like just suck it up and try your darndest to get interested into the stupid crap that chicks like to watch. Now, it can be kind of interesting now, I don't personally like the typical chick stuff that they're going to like to watch is going to be like crime shows, serial killer stuff, because women are like hyper focused on like danger. So they want to know how the inner workings of a serial killer are, because it makes them feel like they can figure it out and get safe if they run into the serial killer in the wild. It makes them feel better. That's fine. I do not watch that stuff. I don't really care. Anyways, but the other one will be like your Real Housewives stuff. Now I like to watch that because I like looking at how people have wealth and what they do with their wealth. And I like to judge. Oh my gosh, you have $150 million and your house looks like this. This is what I do when I'm watching. I'm like, oh, look at that. That doesn't even match. This person has no taste. If I had the money, I would buy good quality stuff. It would look expensive. This is what I'm thinking. Some women are watching it for the relationship drama, the friendship drama, the whatever drama. I'm judging what they're doing with their money, I guess. That's my thing. Then you have like the relationship shows. Some girls like to watch the relationship shows, and that's totally fine too. So we got that. Anyways, so that's going to be the emotional part. You're going to have to be the gay best friend. Enthusiasm up, interest up, put everything down. Ask for more details. When she's complaining about you, just suck it up. Just take it. Just who cares? Who cares? She's going to forget about it tomorrow. All right. So just move on. Anyways, the next is the physical needs, right? Physical needs. Okay. So the beginning of the cycle, the first day of the cycle is when she gets her first bleed. So from that, for 2 weeks, that's day one. And for 2 weeks, she's going to be in her best, right? And when she's in her best, she's going to be, I guess, kind of like a guy, like, let's say tomboyish, because she's not totally like a guy until she's ovulating. But she's kind of like a tomboyish. So she'll be more chill the first 2 weeks of her cycle. And that's when it's going to be easy for you. It's going to be easier, at least. It's going to be easier to deal with her. She's going to be more chill. She's not going to probably need as much from you. And those 2 weeks are going to be smooth. And you need to keep track of this stuff. You need to put it in your calendar so you know what to expect mentally and you know what to bring and what to avoid, right? For every part of the cycle. First 2 weeks, chill. Then she's going to ovulate. And this is when men and women are most alike. And for women, they become kind of feral about this. They're going to be interested in like quickies, or like to have sex or whatever a lot. And that's when they're going to be more readily available. So it's kind of like a teenage boy. That's when women become like teenage boys and they become like whatever. Rawr. So if you have the energy, you're going to have a good time. Now, if you are low T, you are tired, you're not in the mood, you are not putting out, and she's on that part of her cycle, now you're going to qualify for not meeting her physical needs. So if she's ovulating, and I've talked to friends about this, women get angry. They get violent, almost, I would say. They would get pretty violent if they are ovulating in the mood and the guy says no. Because remember, as women get older, their sex drive goes up, and as men get older, it goes down. So we're kind of like missing each other, right? So that's why a lot of these problems happen, unfortunately. So you're just going to have to go, okay, she's about to ovulate. I got to sleep. because I need to be prepared. I need to do whatever I need to do. You need to take your supplements. You need to get your sleep. You need to lower your stress levels. You need to make sure you're not doing anything that harms the liver around this time, so that you keep your libido up, so that you can meet her physical needs, at least during when she's ovulating, right? You need to do that, because from what I've heard from women, they get really angry. And that is when you do not want her to go on a girls' night or go hang out with her friends, especially if you're not putting out, because that's when female infidelity is more likely to happen, right? And then the next half of the cycle, this is when she's going to need her emotional needs met, like we spoke about before. She's going to have to bring all that theatrical stuff when she's complaining or talking about her day or whatever. Tell me more. Oh my gosh, really? No way, whatever. So that's the emotional part. So the last 2 weeks, she's going to be up and down emotionally, right? It doesn't matter how mentally stable she is. She's still female. So it's going to be up and down, right? And as they get older, more stress, things happen at jobs or whatever, it's going to go up too. So now we're going to have the physical needs, so like the sexual needs for women during that time. It's going to be no quickies. It's going to be massages, foot massages, stuff like that. Like that type of relationship maintenance is going to be needed in that half of the cycle. So no quickies, nothing like hard and fast. You're going to have to be slow and more caring. And they're going to need a lot more hugs and a lot more cuddles, a lot more, would you like some tea? A lot more, do you need anything? For the last 2 weeks, right? Of the cycle. And then they're going to get their period. They're going to be in pain. So you're probably going to be able to play video games while they're in pain, wherever because women usually cocoon, right? They'll scroll, they'll just get like some tea and like kind of like a blanket and kind of like sit there. And then you can play your video games and you can watch your shows and stuff like that while she's cocooning. And then like, that's it. Like, that's pretty much it. And again, neglect is when you don't do any of the other two things. Neglect is when you've given up on the emotional, you've given up on the physical, or you are completely checked out because of drugs, alcohol, you're too busy at work, you're just not taking care of her or spending time with your kids. Remember, the father is the most important part of a child's life after age 7. So if you are not readily teaching your kids life lessons after they're the age of 7, you're not doing your job. So that is neglect. So if you neglect the children, if you neglect the wife, you're neglecting the family. So that does constitute neglect. And that, I believe, those are the main reasons. If you can avoid all of these reasons that women file, you're going to be okay. It's not that hard. And I know you want to be in some fantasy world like the 1950s or whatever, where you could just work and she'd be home and cook you a meal and she'd be happy to see you. We don't have the drugs for that anymore readily available, and women have to work. So that time period is over. If we can get her a nice like part-time job or something she could do on the internet, sell some stuff online, or she can work for your business and help you grow your business, that's going to be the best situation, so that she can take a lot of time off when the kids get sick, when everybody's, when your parents and her parents get older and someone needs to stay home and take care of them, take them to the hospital, doctor's appointments, that's going to be ideal. So if you can put yourself in the situation where she doesn't have to work, you're going to have a better chance. But unfortunately, unless you can provide nannies and nannies and house cleaners and cooks and chefs and all that stuff, you're gonna have to put in more effort than they did in the 50s. It is what it is. We're in a new time. And remember, we are caged animals. This is not the natural environment that we thrive in. We thrive in tribal outdoor environments. We are indoors all day. We are isolated for the most part. Or isolated and or with people we did not choose and would not choose to be like at work, we're not choosing these people. Most of the time they're kind of crazy, and we would never want to be in the same room with most of these people. Let's be honest, but we got to. So that is it for today, you guys. I hope that this was somewhat helpful in the long run. And I know it sucks. We live in like a terrible time, and, you know, relationships are hard, and society is crumbling, and the world's on fire outside. And it is, and it is what it is, you guys. Look, it's hard out there, but do the best you can. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys maybe tomorrow, or maybe next week, or maybe Sunday. Who knows? I don't know. I'm going to the comedy club, so I will see you guys later. Have a great rest of your night, and try to watch something happy. There's a lot of negative stuff and sad stuff out there today, so find someone who's talking about something happy, because there's nothing you can do about it. Now, we are going to call our Congress people about what we talked about in the beginning of the show. You can rewind that so you can get that part. Do that. We need to pass something like that. We need to take back our country. And I think that's the easiest way to do it. Just do the reverse 10-year button and hit that. All right. Like, subscribe, share. I am 5 watch hours away from getting monetized. We'll see if that ever happens. I don't know. We'll see. Have a great rest of your day. See you all next time. Bye.
The old gods whisper with tongues of sin. They crawl through culture to pull you in. Don't be for sale, don't wear their grin. The old are rotten, don't let them win. Eyes and heads and mirrored glass. They promised youth, they cursed your past. You drank the lie with ruby lips, but every toast is one